Hey,
Hey,
hey, everybody. Here we are.
hey, all million of you.
Oh, yeah, well, we got 46 of them so far.
Good stuff, good stuff.
I was hoping for, that's about average for me.
I'm
That's
going to
about
go ahead and
average.
try and stream it.
Yeah, that's when I first opened my live streams. I usually have 40 or 50 people there. So, did your stream go live?
It's gone live, yeah, so I'm going to pop back to you.
Okay, good, good. So, I'm sure that people will come in as we go. Uh,
Not sure
let me
whether I should
say,
stay. If I go over to my page, I won't be able to see you, see, so
no. You need to stay on this. So
yeah, yeah.
we need to be tossed. I hope everybody can hear both of us. If you can't, let me know in the chat. And I want to say hi. Hi, everybody. Something a little different for me. Number one, live streaming in the daytime with the sunlight coming through the window. That's new for me. And I have a guest on my live stream, which isn't really my live stream. Lee and I got together and decided that this would be a joint live stream. He's streaming it on his channel, and I'm streaming it on my channel, supposedly simultaneously. But rocket scientists that we are, and as complicated as YouTube and StreamYard make everything, we're hoping that everything is working correctly because this is a new first for both of us. I've been live
Mhm.
streaming for a long time, but this idea of actually having a guest, having to go out on two different channels and do that kind of stuff is kind of new to me. So let me introduce, for those of you who don't know him, myself. I'm Mitch, old guy carnivore, and next to me is Lee and Copus, I believe is correctly
That's
how
it,
you
yeah, you've
pronounce your
actually
last name.
pronounced it right as well, yeah.
Okay, cool. And Lee is sitting in England, and I'm sitting in Florida, and we're waving at each other across the pond. And God bless technology, man. So,
Yeah,
Lee,
nice.
welcome, man. Good to see you. Now, just in preface, Lee and I have spent almost 2 hours, I would imagine, total time
Hmm.
video chatting. Because previous to arranging this thing, we'd only emailed. And later on, if we get the time, I'll tell the story of how we actually got together on this thing. But right now, let me hand it over to you, Lee, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to carnivore, if you would.
Yeah, sure, sure. Well, I mean, I just got done eating a big bowl of pasta, so I mean, I guess that's over, but no, I'm joking. I've not long
Thanks for
been
coming, everybody. It's been great having you,
yeah, take the
and
day off and eat some
yeah, take the rest of the day off and
pasta.
eat meat.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just got done eating about 600 grams of beef ribeye, about 250 grams of Iberica pork, a couple of eggs, and loads of butter. But yeah, I'm Lee. If you don't know me, I'm living in the Garden of Kent over here in England. The Garden of England, sorry, known as Kent, hence the name. And yeah, there's about 1.8 million of us here. I thought I was somewhat of a rarity, but there's quite a few that I'm hearing about through my channel that are living, 10, 20 miles away, 50 miles away that are also carnivore, have had similar kind of health issues in the past. So it's amazing how small this world is. But I found carnivore 19 months ago. So I've been eating predominantly red meat every single day, some eggs and things like that for the last 19 months. And my reason for going carnivore was to address depression. So it was as a consequence of my surgery. So lots of people know that I had ileostomy surgery, and that was through suffering for years of pretty chronic ulcerative colitis. So I was diagnosed back in 2012 when I was 24 years old, and went medication free for a couple of years, and then it wasn't until 2014, the whole routine at the doctors and the medications and the contraindicated advice, really bad advice. They told me to eat loads of fiber, carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, the lot. And so that's what I did. And then 3 years after that point, so 5 years total since my diagnosis, ended up losing my entire colon. So I wear an ostomy bag. I have what's known as a stoma, and then I fashion a bag over the top, which is on my abdominal wall. And so I kind of have a bit of a unique perspective now on, food metabolism as it enters the colon, the state in which food is in, and it's pretty evident as to what's inflammatory, what's the problem, and what isn't. And so, yeah, after 3 weeks of finding the diet, my depression lifted, and just a whole host of other benefits. Everything that I struggled with, I even wrote a list before I did this when I went on my journey, and I ticked off every single thing that I wrote down. Because me and my partner, we went BBBE 2022, I think in mid-July, and we decided to write, as we went carnivore, to write a list of all the problems that we could think of, because we heard so many anecdotes and they were all so miraculous. We thought, well, look, I'm just going to write a whole list of things down. Top of the list, obviously, depression. I had acid reflux, skin conditions, different like rosacea type thing. I was never diagnosed, but itches and rashes and things like that. Low energy, bad sleep, all this kind of stuff. And by 3 weeks, I could pretty much tick every single thing off. And if there wasn't something that completely went, it was at least vastly improved. And so, that's what I've been doing for the last 19 months. And now obviously got a YouTube channel, and I live this life and advocate for this way of life, and could never go back. It's the best. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool. And look who just chimed in.
Hey, Kerry. Hey, man.
Well, your timing is impeccable there, young man. How you doing, Kerry? I haven't talked to you since I was on the live stream with you, and I've thought about you a lot. Yeah, it is amazing. Kerry says, shoot out to Mitch and Lee, two amazing carnivores inspiring so many people, two of my favorite YouTubers to watch. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. I really do. Very nice of you to say that. And good to see you.
We were just talking about you.
Yeah, your ears were probably burning like crazy. So thanks, Kerry. That was very nice of you. Okay, Lee. Well, we're starting to climb up there. We got 80 people in the live, and it is unfortunately, there's no great time to do these things. Late at night is no good for you guys over in Europe, and early in the day, especially on the Daytona Beach 500 weekend, everybody wants to watch the NASCARs go around, but we do what we can. We do what we can.
It's just gone 6 p.m. here, so I mean, the amount of times I get invites for things, and people obviously they're not 100% aware, but it will be often sort of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and things like that. Even midnight, it's too late to pop on for 2 hours, really. Especially during the week.
That's true, and a lot of people think that it's inconvenient for the people that live in the Pacific Rim, in Australia and over there, but it's better for them.
Yeah,
they're 12 hours apart. We're very rarely asleep at the same time, and I never have any problem, because if it's 8 p.m. here, it's 8 a.m. there. So the normal evening times here are just in the morning over there. And
Right. Are you in Orlando? Is that right?
I'm near Orlando. I'm in Melbourne, which is east of Orlando.
It's in Australia.
Yeah. Well, Melbourne is our sister city.
Right.
And we where Kennedy Space Center is.
Yeah, I've been once. Or maybe been twice, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm 20 miles south of there.
Okay.
And I live about 6 miles inland from the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't go to the beach too often, because you know how it is. When you live near an attraction, you never go. People will fly 1,000 miles to get to where you live, and we live here. Same thing with Disney. So many people that come from everywhere to go to Disney.
I've been there a lot with my family. Like, my dad's priorities was always vacations and holidays, and so rather than paying for his dream car, he would always save his money, and he'd take all of us every couple of years to the States quite often. So we've been to Orlando quite a few times, and we touched on Kennedy Space Center. We went to Miami once, Florida Keys. So been a little bit around where you are quite a bit.
I've never been to anywhere near where you are.
Well, no, it's funny you say, because we're 25 minutes away from London on the train, and I never go to London. I never.
Yeah, that's how it works. I was in the Army back in the 1970s. I don't know when your father was born, but may even be
1960.
60. Okay, he was 8 years old when I was stationed overseas, and I was stationed in Turkey. And on the way to Turkey, on the Pan Am 707, it stopped in London. We didn't get off the plane. It just stopped in London and took off. And that's the only time I've ever... I never even set foot in England. The plane I was sitting in was in London, but in England.
You only had that little window. You're like trying to.
Yeah, and it just looked like any other airport.
Yeah. Probably really gloomy as well.
Yeah. So you can see the chat where you are, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think my one looks different, but obviously if I pop on that, I'm not going to be able to talk to you and hang out with you.
I don't know if I'm getting. I did get a message that said somebody actually confirmed that your stream is going live on your channel.
Sure. Okay.
And I saw that. I'm going to start keeping an eye out for questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get a lot of questions on my live stream. Really, it's funny, and in a way I can understand it because I'm not a you and I are not doctors,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I
and
don't know how you feel about like giving advice as well. I mean, in the beginning, I was putting out disclaimers, and now I just, if I've learned what I feel like is really accurate, and this is what other people are saying, then I'm just quite happy to sort of give that advice. But I should probably be careful, really.
yeah, I agree. But it seems as though most of the people, like on Ken Berry's streams or Anthony Chafee's streams, are asking technical
Mhm.
medical questions. And he's still not supposed to give medical advice out on YouTube. None of
Right.
them are, but they do. They talk about numbers, and sometimes I have people will do that for me. My cholesterol is this. This number's this. This number's that. Do you think I have thyroid problems? I say, I mean, I may even know the answer
Yeah. Yeah.
from something I read or having heard it enough time, but I won't dare.
Maybe I'm being a bit silly, really. I mean, even through watching some of the content, Jordan Peterson's last video and Chris Palmer, he was even hesitant to give his opinion on cancer, and I'm sure he knows it's much of the same thing. He was talking about the mitochondria a lot, and it got to the subject of cancer, and Jordan Peterson was addressing this serious subject, and just because he's not like specifically an expert in that realm, he's like, right, first of all, you should go and see this guy because I'm not a specialist in this area, and I don't want to say this, I don't want to say that, and so that even made me think maybe I should slow down a little bit with some of the
Yeah,
advice I'm giving. But
I think you're right. I think we need to be careful, not because we might hurt somebody with this advice. We may get canceled
yeah,
because
and
there's
also, I
so
mean,
much opposition to any of this stuff that we
there is
do.
also problems that people run into, not because they adopted the diet, but if they go carnivore quite quickly and expose the previous diet for whatever reason, and then they're going to blame that potentially yourself for even that information. You think, oh, it's because of carnivore, and why were you on that diet? Oh, this guy said
Yeah,
this and
this
this,
guy said, and
inspired me
I'll
to
tell
go
you,
carnivore, and then I had this issue, which was basically exposing the previous diet. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, how many people, and not inadvertently, most likely, but medical doctors, how many people they're killing every single day with their advice and their poisons, right? Yet nobody says anything about it. Yeah, it's
wow,
crazy.
David, Dees, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. Very, very good of you. And welcome, welcome. Good to see you. David, his name is David. He's one of my regular guys and good supporter. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Um,
Yeah,
so,
so I found out that you had brain surgery. I didn't realize
oh
you had
no, okay.
brain.
I've
How
told
long
that.
ago was that?
Yeah, that was 2.5 years ago.
That was a
Two and a
severe,
half years ago in
severe immune
August.
timing, or
Okay, here's a question. We got a question. Type the Q. I saw the QQQ. If I keep doing this, everybody, it's because the chat that I'm looking at is on a left monitor here. So I'm not spastic. I don't have Tourette's. Nothing like that. Nothing to
I
worry
do.
about. Don't worry. Don't
Very
worry.
mild.
If I make the picture like this, then you don't notice it as much. But then you don't see as much of our pretty faces, and I think that's probably more important. At any rate, I keep looking and I see a question here, and it's from United Carnivore, and it says, "Do you guys?" Now I will go over here and see if I can find it. Here it is, right there. I'll put it up on the screen for you. You guys have a preference between grass-fed and grain-fed meats? To
I
you,
mean, I
Lee,
do.
you
I
take
do.
you
I
can
do
take it.
personally. I mean, I can even tell just by taste. I don't know if you experience the same thing, but I can tell, just through smell and taste whether it's grass fed or not now.
Really?
Yeah, you can taste how earthy grass fed is when you, especially like the fat and stuff like that. When you bite into it, you can taste the earth almost in it. And at first, I actually preferred grain fed. I was used to consuming more conventional meat, but when I started to get into it a little bit more, I wanted to kind of maximize the substrate that I was taking in every day. And so I pretty much, and all of it's grass fed, to a point. Even in the States, I mean, it's all 2/3 grass fed, and then some of those may go into sort of concentrated feeding lot type situation. But yeah, I personally do prefer grass fed. That's pretty much all I eat. Every now and again, sometimes the butchers, they have some other cuts of meat that's bought in, and sometimes I don't know where that's cut. It's usually British beef, but it may or may not have been sort of all grass fed, grass finished. But I prefer it myself, and I believe in it.
How do you feel in Europe, the ratio of available beef from butchers and farmers like you eat is compared to what you've heard about how it is in the States with the Costco's and the Sam's Clubs and the BJ's and the huge supermarket chains that supply, that I think, most of the beef. I think it'd be easier to get it if you were in Europe. Is that true?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well,
What, in terms of what kind of meat? Like
any
brought in from other countries?
grass fed versus
Oh, I
grain
see.
fed. I
I
have
mean,
no place I can get really well equivalent to what you're getting. There's no
yeah.
place I can get that anywhere close to my house. I
I
even went
think I'm
looking.
quite lucky here. We've got so much pasture around. Like if I was to take the camera outside right now, you'd see just hills and grass and fields in the background, and you wouldn't have to drive too far in any direction, and you'll come across a farm. There's cows and sheep grazing all of the time, and so over here in the UK, we are quite lucky in terms of red meat, ruminants, and stuff like that. They're always on pasture. There's a chuck farm down the road from here. We've got this basically venison, deer. They're domesticated, but it's very much like a wild setting. They've got acres and acres. They go into the forests, and the guys actually go out and hunt them where they keep them. That's how natural their environment is, and that's where every now and again I get some venison liver. I get some bones. I get so very, very high quality, and it's very easy around here. If you're going to farms and butchers, it's all mostly grass fed, and most of it is grass finished as well.
Somebody just said, Lee, Beth just put in the chat, I don't mean to interrupt you, said that your live stream isn't showing the two of us. I wonder why. It's just, and no audio or video of me. That's
How do I do
strange.
that? I can pop back on here then.
I don't know how. I don't know if it's anything you could have been doing. It's supposed to do all that auto. Maybe because maybe you weren't supposed to hit that go live button. Remember?
Wait a minute. Done? Have I done it?
I don't know.
I think I'm basically now sharing. I think I'm like sharing your screen with my screen within it, or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, let me. However, if you're if they miss me, no big deal. They can find me anytime. I'm on every Tuesday night here at 8 o'clock. But somehow we're supposed to be sharing exactly the same stream, and all of our viewers and chats are supposed to be mixed up together, so we can see the total of them. Like I told you, folks, this is far from professional show business.
So I think now I'm on mine, but I'm with you, if you know what I'm saying. And now I can actually see what's going on this end as well, which is helpful.
Oh, okay, cool. How many viewers does it say that you have on yours?
It's my first rodeo.
Yeah.
It
should say under
36.
so many people viewing underneath the window.
36. Is that what you've got?
No, I've got 101.
Right. Okay.
Which is about normal for.
I mean, I might be wrong.
That's not even a lot for mine. I usually average about 150 or so, but it is the middle of a Saturday afternoon and the sun's shining.
Wonderful. So, can you guys hear me now as well?
I haven't seen any. If they can't hear you, I'll see a lot of that in the chat. I'll get a whole bunch of messages saying we can't hear them. But
all clear. Yeah, cool. Nice one.
Okay.
Cheers, guys.
Well, we're doing it. This is no man's land for the both of us, but we thought it would be great.
Like if I do this, I can't see Mitch, and then obviously you guys couldn't see Mitch either. But yeah, I'm new to this stuff. Believe it or not, I'm really not a very technical person. I just know how to edit.
I did this. I only did this combined live stream one time with Larry, the Carnivore Soldier, and And it was months ago, and I actually don't remember what I had to go through to hook up my channel to his, and I'm trying to walk Lee through it. And if you guys have ever dealt with the technical end of YouTube, you know that they're not the masters of clarity in their when they tell you instructions. They seem like most technical people to think that you know the meaning of every word, and it should be intuitively. It's a dangerous phrase. It's intuitively clear. Intuitively clear. I had a math teacher that was her favorite expression. She'd put up a whole blackboard full of crap that nobody could understand or decipher, and she'd go up to it and she'd kind of wave past the first 3 quarters, and she would say, "Okay, everybody, up until this point, this should be intuitively clear." So when she finally, where she started explaining, we were all wandering, lost in the desert by that time. So we have to be careful about that, I guess. I guess. And anyway, here's a question. I never answered the question about the beef. I'll do it real quick. For me, I don't get grass-fed beef. I eat only grain-fed beef. I've heard that 5-10% less nutrients is maybe the biggest penalty because all beef is grass-fed. It's just either grass or grain finished.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the
that's true.
finishing. It's the finishing that's different, and I'm perfectly happy with it. And most of the marbling happens
Exactly. Yeah, that eats a much
in the
better.
grain feeding part, which is
Yeah.
why it doesn't make any sense when they tell us that whole grains are good for us,
Right. Yeah, that's what
because
they.
that's what they feed. That's how they feed pigs and cattle to fatten them up and give their muscles that nice marbled fat. And you eat too much of that stuff, and you would be a mighty tasty to some cannibal
Mm.
somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think the only issue with it is like the supposedly like branch chain amino acids, perhaps in the grain fed, things like that. Some of the levels are higher. I don't know how much validity there is to that.
Some
Um,
people, I think, have said there's maybe a little different ratio of omega 6 to omega 3s. I don't know how
that's true
valid.
as well.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
that will
valid
happen
that
a
is,
lot.
or whether it makes all that. All I know is at my age, I'm doing fine. I'm having a good time, and I feel good, and I just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, Cam's dad saying as long as they haven't had it like with glyphosate on, that's true also. I think yeah.
Here's a question from Andre, and it's kind of
Right,
I
okay,
don't want to
James.
create any controversies here, but what do you guys think of influencers are constantly falling off the wagon and crying about it? What do you think of that, Lee?
Well, I think that they're probably jumping to conclusions quite quickly about perhaps knowing the right ways to do things, and then they get into it and they start talking about it, publicizing it, and then they I don't know, maybe they're hanging on and pretending like it's still working for them, and then they go and hate on it after, where they realize perhaps, I don't know, there's a sort of nuance with them as an individual. I don't really know. I don't want to like call out names, but there's quite a few
No, we don't.
people
We don't want to do that. I've talked
been
about
been
this.
in this realm, and they go in and out, and then they kind of hate on the community, like their previous community, if you like.
Do you
Yeah,
think you think some of them are just doing it for views? They know that when they get a bunch of followers and they put up a video that says, "That's it, I'm done, I'm quitting," that
yeah,
they'll get
maybe
that
that's probably for the fact
people like to watch a disaster.
yeah, or they just sort of develop this hate towards something that didn't work for them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't eating enough fat. Maybe they weren't, the frequency, or they were exercising too much. They weren't eating enough protein. Whatever. There's so many different nuances in being an individual person. If you've got really active lifestyle, you're probably going to want to eat more protein, but you also want to eat more fat as well. If you're trying to build muscle, like you're going to need a lot more fat, but you're also going to need a lot more mass of food, just volume of food in general. But it's more than just food. I think some people as well, they go carnivore, they get some benefits. Maybe they lower inflammation, they lower their blood sugar, or they sort their gut health out a little bit. But if you're not doing other things correctly, if you've got terrible circadian rhythm, the carnivore diet's not going to save you. If you're doing night shifts, for example, you could go carnivore and feel great for a little bit. But if you continue just doing night shifts, you're not ever getting the proper light. You're not getting the benefits of darkness. You're not getting the benefits of a full spectrum of natural light, and it's just blue light at the wrong times. After a year of carnivore, you're probably going to start feeling a bit rubbish again. Do you know what I mean? And so then they might pin it on the carnivore diet. They go and hate the carnivore diet when that was what they were previously doing, saying, it's the be all and end all. But the truth is, there's more to it than just eating meat. We've got to kind of, sleep right. You've got to move, electrically ground yourself as much as you can and get proper light, because everything's electric. Everything runs on light. And that's also why people, if it's a sunny day and you're getting a lot of light, you don't even need to eat as much, because you're getting all the right signals electrically. And so, yeah, there's so many variables in how you go about doing this. But carnivore isn't going to save anyone if they haven't got their sleep or their circadian rhythm in order.
And as far as this, there are some YouTube people, not all of them, that do this. There are some of them that just simply are so addicted to carbs that they came on YouTube because they had success, but they fell prey to the addiction because they were doing a few things wrong, primarily, like I talk about a lot, trying to make imitation versions of food that they're addicted to.
Yeah.
And how do you break a habit of a pizza eating habit if you
Yeah, that's something I actually.
keep eating something that looks and tastes like pizza, even though it's low carb? You can't. It's like trying to quit smoking by smoking. It's like trying to quit coffee by drinking decaf. You can't.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
still never break the
You're
habit
getting
of
that signal.
drinking that coffee.
Yeah, yeah. It would be like even like you get these sweet teas that don't have any sugar in it, even just like natural licorice extract, licorice root extract, and that stuff can taste really sweet, even if it's just these polyphenols and things that seep into the water. There's no sugar, there's no carbs. It tastes as sweet as anything. So if you've gone overnight into a carnivore diet and you're like, oh, I'm really struggling, and then you just continue to have these sweet teas and things, the body's going to think it's accepting sugar. It's like preparing itself for carbohydrate intake, and things can happen. You're still triggering hormones to go and do their thing. That can be inflammatory. So yeah, I don't actually think we should be trying to make carnivore pizza and carnivore muffins or whatever. That's not my style. I think that the vegans, they've done that with meat, and I'm not being funny, but a lot of us, we take the mick out of those guys for calling a plant-based sausage a sausage or a burger, and
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
like it. So I don't think that we should be really trying to create pizzas and pasta, or I don't know. That's just me. Nothing
Well,
against it.
it's not just Lee. It's not just you. It's the reality of the situation. It's the chemistry of it. It's why. It's why if you talk to any successful carnivore, anybody that has been on this for a year or more, okay, anybody who, especially those who live alone like me, where I can't blame it on somebody else in the house,
Yeah,
none
how
of
do those
us,
M&Ms get there?
none of us ever
Mm.
do. We learned, most of us, the hard way, that's a minefield when you're trying to do this, because not only do you have addictions, which are chemical, but you have habits,
Mm.
and the habits kind of wave the addictions in front of your face, and then the addictions take over and you're helpless. And
Yeah.
if you don't break those habits, and if you've associated satisfaction, soul food, with some of these foods that are bad for you, doesn't matter whether that food actually contains sugar or not, or it doesn't matter. It's the whole event, the whole concept of eating pizza. And I tried that early on when I was on keto. I said, I loved keto. I said, wow, keto, man, I got 20 grams of carbs in the bank every day. And if you think I'm going to waste them or spend them foolishly, then you think I'm a crazy old man, and I'm not. I will not waste not 1 gram of my carbs in my checkbook on broccoli or Brussels sprouts, man. I am going to go for the sweetest thing I can find with the fewest carbs in it, usually blueberries. And I'm going to make ice cream, and I'm going to
Yeah, yeah.
and
I even thought about that actually. The eggs and the cream, and I don't know.
yeah,
It's a good
2 weeks later, I'm off the diet because I'm starting to eat 3 pounds of blueberries a day, and I learned I can't do that. The habit
That's something
associates
that
with
milk
the
was
addiction.
causing me issues with as well. Because when I started to lose, I lost a decent amount of weight. I started to look, if anything, kind of ill. Like I wasn't adapted at the point in time, and so I was like leaning out quite a bit. You started to see veins in my abs and my back, and so I was like, wow, I tried to eat more, but it was really difficult, and to eat any more fat was almost too overwhelming because my body wasn't used to it. So I started to go down the whole raw milk route. And as much as it's a whole food, it is very nutritious. You've got vitamin C, B vitamins, and high quality saturated fats. The proteins, I think, may have caused me a little bit of an issue, casein proteins and whey protein, but it's also sweet. I mean, to me, that was like, it was amazing. It would I would look forward to my glass of milk at the end of the meal because it was like dessert. And it got to be a little bit difficult to moderate. And I noticed that when I cut the milk out, I was craving it, like just the same way as I was craving, my cereal in the morning or a sandwich at lunch and things like that. So it was almost difficult. I had to go down this route again when I was already on a carnivore diet. I was only drinking like 2 glasses of this raw milk, but cutting it out, it's like, wow, I really miss the raw milk. I just want milk. But now, give it enough time and you start to forget about it. And
Don't
the idea of bringing that back in the diet is so challenging to try and moderate that. It's more torture to have a little bit, you know. It was just torturing the hell out of me, and I know it's just sitting there in the fridge, and so I'm trying to just I've had my 2 glasses, I can't have any more than that, and that was tough, but it's so much easier. I said this to my partner so many times, you know, it's so much easier just to keep it simple. Even though you may think about things here and there, you might I enjoy smell of something every now and again, you know, like I like the smell of cinnamon or pastries and bread. I quite like that fresh smell of bread, and someone's making a coffee. I quite like the smell of that stuff. But it's easier to say no to the smells than when you start tasting that. So now try and moderate that for me is like, that's impossible. I just can't do it. It doesn't fit with me and my personality. So
there's a lot of people. There's an actual physiological thing, you've heard of it, called the cephalic phase response. And that's where when your body knows that sugar's coming, it preloads. Just like your digestive cycle starts before you take the first bite of food. There's the smells, the psychology, the knowledge. And unfortunately, in the cephalic phase response, one of the first things that happens is your pancreas squirts a little insulin into your bloodstream. Now you've got this insulin that's sitting there going, all right, come on, sugar, I'm ready for you. You know, anytime, I'm here. I'm going to push you right into the cells, man, no problem. And then the sugar never comes. And that insulin has to do its job. So it starts to take what blood sugar you do have and push it into the cells. And then your blood sugar plummets. Next thing you know, you're approaching hypoglycemia, which is not a good thing. And your body says, if I don't get sugar into me within a very short period of time, I'm going to die. So the cravings and the urge to eat sugar are overwhelming. And the next thing you know, you've had 4 Snicker bars. And this happens with smell and taste. And this is why diet soda is such a time bomb, because the sweet taste of these diet sodas is going to trigger your appetite for sugar because of this response.
Yeah, I wonder about that water. You know, like I'm trying to think what they call now, but they're selling these products where you've just got the smell and then you drink the water at the same time, and it kind of genuinely tastes like that's what you're drinking.
Maybe not as strong. I think maybe not as strong, but it's still counterproductive. Don't hate me for this, Lee. You did send me you did send me this picture. Tell us about this. Tell us. You look a hell of a lot younger there.
I look younger because I was younger, but I was meatier. You know, I was gaining. That's inflammation. You know, it might look like healthy weight to some people. I'm not really sure. I mean, I look at that and I know how I felt at the time. I was very kind of tender. If I prodded around my whole abdomen, even on the sides, it was very tender. And actually, I was drinking quite a bit at the time as well. So I don't actually talk about this too much on my channel, but I don't think I was ever an alcoholic, because somehow I could just give it up and I would just maybe crave and have associations for drinking alcohol. And I genuinely enjoy that feeling of that warmth, that liquid courage going into your system. You know, I would use it all the time when I'm stressed, when I wanted to feel more confident, when I wanted to forget about things. I used it to sedate myself into sleep. And so that was, this was obviously during episodes of ulcerative colitis, but pre-surgery. And so that's what I used to look like leading up to the point where I very, very rapidly lost a lot of weight. And then, so there I would say I was around about 12 stone. So that's like 168 pounds.
Oh, okay.
That's quite heavy at 5'6".
5'6", okay.
Yeah, I'm about 138 pounds maybe at the moment.
Oh, you and I weigh the same.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, I'm very, very consistently the same as well. I maybe fluctuate 1 or 2 pounds depending on when I measure myself. But yeah, at this time I was miserable. This is back at my mum and dad's house, and I took the picture because I was like, wow, I'm putting on weight. Just all the binging, and I used to drink every night, and mostly beer. If there wasn't beer, I'd be looking for something else in the house. And so that was quite an alcoholic type of behavior, but I was able to give it up. And actually, through going through this whole process of trying to address my health, when after my surgery, I was still drinking. And the people that I was speaking to, this mental health unit, they were like, well, we would definitely encourage that you give up the alcohol. And I forget to mention this, but that day I put that phone down. That's when I gave up alcohol. And this was 2 months before finding Michaela Peterson's anecdote, which inspired me to go carnivore. But the alcohol didn't actually change my mental health at all, because I was still eating way too many carbohydrates. It wasn't the alcohol. It wouldn't have helped for sure, but it didn't cure my depression. I was eating way too many carbohydrates for me. And I think ultimately I needed to be in ketosis at least most of the time. We naturally go in and out, obviously, of optimal levels, and perhaps in and out the way we should when we eat large meals with lots of protein and things like that. But yeah, for me, I can't be out of ketosis. That worries me, and that's why, again, try and moderate milk as well. The idea of drinking too much because I can't moderate and coming out of ketosis and starting to feel down and gloomy again. That's not something that I want. So.
Do you have you? I know I can. We can only speak for ourselves and our own experiences, and that's pretty much what most of us here on YouTube do. I know you do, and I do, and not only other people say it, but I actually believe that we are adaptively different, all of us. We've all gotten to where we are through different pathways of DNA and genetic inheritance and the mixing of our parents and grandparents and all the DNA all along the way. And we all have, and where our ancestors lived, whether they lived in a cold climate or a warm climate, and what grew there, what kind of animals. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
there is a minor difference, but basically down at a cellular level, every single one of us has exactly the same cellular chemistry as every other living thing on the planet, including the grass in your front lawn. The pathways that create energy in the cells of that grass are the same exact chemical reactions that happen in your cells. So that's the basic lowest level of programming, and we all share that in common. But we're so complex. And you and I can talk about what our experiences are. And I've seen it in my comments, and you'll probably back me up when I say that even though sometimes these comments are a little, to put it mildly, aggravating or inane, so many of them are so educational because they open up windows into other people who are trying to do what you're doing, but having some different results. And it's a challenge because they're going to come out and ask you, well, I did what you did, and this is what happened to me. Why don't I weigh 138 pounds? And I can't, none of us can answer that question without a you have to be a detective, and you'd have to spend days digging through family histories, medical, to find out. So we can come on and say what seems to be a consensus of most of the people that are succeeding on this, but it's very, very hard to actually diagnose. And do you find that to be true? Do you find that
definitely. Not only are we like different phenotypes, different genetic kind of backgrounds and stuff, but if you think, even if you were identically the same and you lived in another part of the globe where you've got your different exposure to light, different plants available, different things, and you've also been through different experiences. You fell over and hit your head one day. Well, I haven't had that. So that there's something that changes you. You're rewired through that accident or being exposed to this that was different from this person. Imagine you take up something, now it's your job, and you do that for 2 decades, and you're using your body in a certain way, and you're inside a factory, perhaps. You know what I mean? That's completely different to someone that's farming. They're out. There's going to be so many different problems, and so that's probably why. Not only are we individually different from a genetic standpoint, but our lifestyle we're sort of rewiring ourselves all the time based on what we eat, based on things that come across in our paths, what we do for a living, our sleep, and some people. I think you've got these kids that grow up and drink alcohol and don't ever touch a drink, and their answer is the same. Well, my dad used to drink, and that's the reason why they do drink alcohol chronically or never touch the stuff. And so it shows you one thing doesn't create the same result. But yeah, there's so much going on. I think actually that's true of eating carbohydrates and things like that. At certain parts of the equator, some people are going to get away with it more. And I think as well, if it's local and stuff like that, it's somewhat more indicated that that's potentially more natural to eat. Where if you started to eat the same things that they're eating in some kind of tropical country over here in Kent, in England, that's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And so that's probably going to cause inflammation. You might get some bad symptoms through that. But yeah, we're all coming from different angles with this and different times. Some of us have been at destroying our health for decades, where we've seemingly got away with it up until whatever happened, and then right, okay, it's time to change. Where, you know, look at me, I lost my colon in my late 20s. That's unlucky, you know, unfortunate for me. I definitely had bad genetics. I was definitely born into this body that just had this weakness in my gut, and if I pulled the trigger, I was doing it. But that's what happened when I ate all the fiber that I ate, and the alcohol wouldn't have helped. Could have slept a lot better, but I never gave my gut any rest whatsoever. I didn't know about, you know, limitations in terms of frequency and fasting. It was just carbs every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day, and drinking alcohol at the end of that day when I was when I was in my 20s and stuff like that.
Did you have a family history of these digestive type diseases?
My granddad's on my mum's side. He lost his colon during his fight with cancer, but then I've got quite a few customers that are in their 70s and 80s, and they lose their colon during their kind of battles with their health as they're sort of on their way out, I guess. A lot of people, they sort of wind up in this situation, you know, but that's what the doctors say, you know. They say this is an inherent condition, and it's idiopathic somewhat. We can't tell you exactly why you've got it. It's just in your genes, and here's some medication to treat it. But unfortunately, you know, I don't think that's the answer. I think it's triggered by food and lifestyle. Food isn't everything. There's definitely more things going on. But I think if I ate the same food, I could have been doing everything else right. I don't think that would have saved me. You know, lost it in my 20s. That's happened pretty fast.
Did you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis?
Yeah, ulcerative colitis, yeah.
Ulcerative colitis.
I think that's what Nick Norwitz has.
Yeah, well,
Used to have that as well.
you know, IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, is the all-encompassing, and a lot of people confuse that with IBS,
Yeah.
which is inflammatory bowel syndrome, which is nowhere near what Crohn's and ulcerative colitis are. And so many people who have what you have, and I'm going to do this to you again here. This is you from a video you made. Fiber is not healthy, and that shows you with your bag there. And I think it takes a great deal of guts to come out and show that off. And that's one of the things that made me admire you as a YouTube influencer in our space. That's why. Let me tell this story. What happened was, I've been watching you've been doing this carnivore YouTube stuff for about 1.5 years. Am I correct?
It's got to be. It might be that long, you know. It might be that. I thought it was a little bit less, maybe a year.
It might be. It might be.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 6-7 months.
Yeah.
So I'm like the new guy on the block. I've been lucky. I've had some.
No one likes to show off.
What's that?
No one likes to show off, Mitch.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, but you're killing me. You're killing me. You're putting out videos that 500,000 views, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, I look at your videos and I go, damn. I said, what am I doing wrong here?
Your show. I'm not always the star of mine, so.
No, but I said, damn, this kid is great. And I said, he can edit. He has the patience of a saint to sit there and gather up all of these little tiny clips of this and that and the other thing. I don't do that. I just point a camera at me and away I go. You know, I can film, edit, and upload a whole complete video in like 3 hours, you know.
Yeah, that's really good going. I can't do that at all.
Which is why I end up doing one a day, you know, and a couple of live streams, 4 hours of live streams every week, because I like editing and I'm really good at it. When I want to be, but I don't want to sit there. Maybe it's my eyes, because I'm older, about dealing with the challenges of moving things 1 frame this way or 2 frames that way, or syncing up this sound just exactly. I I don't do that, but I admire what you did, and I subscribed to your channel, and this was long before I even came on YouTube, and I decided that you were really great, and I loved your backstory, and I said to myself, here's a guy that can put an end to all the bullshit about the 20 pounds of red meat that is rotting in all of our colons, and how you can't live without fiber because it's a vital nutrient. And here's a guy that is running around. He looks better than he ever looked in his life. It's a shame he's got stuck with that bag, but he's healthier than he's ever been, bag or no bag, and embracing life and doing some good. And I commented on a couple of your older videos, but you get so many comments, I try to answer them all, but it is sometimes next to it, especially if you get a video that goes 100, 200, 300,000 views. You get thousands.
Oh, it's just not possible, really. You'd have to stop making content. That's the thing. It's the balance is off now. Where I was in the beginning, you're not getting as many views. I wasn't making as many videos. And so I'm responding to everything. I wanted to, and I made that my mission. But now I understand why people don't respond, and it gets to the point where you've got to make more content to grow and spread the word. And to make more content, you're not responding. And then when that content takes off, if it's a success, the messages are so overwhelming. I try and respond to regulars and people that I recognize, or really meaningful comments, questions I try and answer. But it's still always an uphill battle. But it's a good thing. That means that we're getting it out there to more people that perhaps could be seriously helped.
The message to anybody listening or anybody who watches the replay, and from my experience, 10 or 20 times the number of people that see these things actually live will watch the replay or parts of it. How many people sit through long replays? I don't know. It depends on how interesting you are, I suppose. But to everybody out there, and this is not just from me, this is something any YouTuber will tell you. When it's just like in this live stream, I wish I could concentrate on every comment that's in the chat. I can tell you that I do go and rewatch every live stream I make, and I read every word that was put in the chat. But I don't read it in time to respond. And I know that everybody that puts a message in there and doesn't hear about that message or get a response to it thinks we're all some kind of stuck-up snobs. And that's just not true. I'm going to show you. Most of you guys already know this. I don't have a single secret from any of my subscribers, but this right here is what I'm sitting in front of. Okay, this is what I'm sitting in front of, and I like to show people this so they'll know what I have to try to keep track of. I'm not only the director of this show, and I have to, on this screen here, I have to push buttons that make the picture bigger or smaller, put banners up, do all that kind of stuff. But over here, on this side, right here, is where the actual chat from YouTube is running by. And right here is another version of the chat that's from StreamYard. But if I want to put something up on the screen in one of these banner things like that, I have to do it from this chat. So if I'm reading something on this chat, and I see something I want to put up on the screen, I got to run over here. I got to start scrolling through all of them and find the one I want to put up, all the while trying to maintain some sort and semblance of putting on a show and talking to people. So a lot gets, what I'm trying to say is a lot, whether in a live stream or getting to the comments afterwards, the volume of these things is such that when you get to the point in YouTube where you're really making money, and I can speak for myself that I haven't gotten there yet, and I don't think Lee that you didn't leave the motor running in your Lamborghini outside, did you? Because it's going to burn gas, if you leave it. But when you get to the Ken Berry level, to the Jordan Peterson level, to the Joe Rogan, these guys are making tens of millions of dollars a year. They have staffs like large corporations. They have people for that. They have maybe one guy whose job it is to respond to all the comments on a particular video. But if any of us are so deluded as to think that we're having a private conversation with Joe Rogan You can forget that. You can forget that. And even Ken Berry, as sweet a guy as he is, I met him in person. He was cordial and everything else. He comments once in a while on my videos. Why he watches them, I don't know. But the other day he put a comment on one of my videos, and it said something like, I could paraphrase it. It said, "Old guy carnivore knows a lot more than most of the doctors that he talks about." You know, something like it was a great compliment from him. But I have no way of reaching him. I don't know where an email, what an email address. I don't try. You were interviewed by Ken, weren't you?
Yes, that was. So I was saying I don't usually go to London, even though it's just like 25 minutes on the train. I was up in London for the first time in years to see Jordan B. Peterson. He was doing like a seminar type of thing. And on the way back on the train, I had an email come through, and I just said to myself, please be a good one, because I get so many emails, not just from subscribers, but it's like a lot of it's just nonsense, lots of advertising and things like that. Anyway, I see Alyssa, and then Candy Berry's name was in there, and I thought, oh, that's good. And yeah, I had the invite. This was before Christmas. That's how busy he is. He has to schedule this stuff months before, and I was on, pretty sure it was January. And yeah, we basically just talked about my condition. Obviously, he'd seen on Take It through that video that I posted talking about the bag. I'd stand up and show the bag. It was what Adam Westman, have I given the right name there? Adam Westman? Am I saying the right name there? For some reason, it didn't sound.
Eric Westman.
Eric Westman. That's it. Yeah, I knew when I
right.
said that. I was that doesn't sound right. Dr. Eric Westman. Yeah, he reacted to it, and I think that perhaps gave a little bit more exposure to this scenario that I'm in, and he thought, well, yeah, let's get him on because he can kind of put an end to this, like what you're saying, the whole red meat getting stuck and red meat's so hard to digest. That's just a complete fallacy. I don't know where they ever came up with that. Who came up with that, but yeah.
Some vegetarian somewhere, you can pretty well rest assured of that.
Yeah, nice fella, but super busy, very, very busy. Even when we got off, I think, like I've been on with Bart K, we have a little bit of a talk behind the scenes. Most people, we have little 10, 15-minute talks. I've had like half an hour chats with a couple of people, behind the scenes. Candy Barrett's like, appreciate you coming on, do take care, bye, I'm off. He's just so busy, and it's no wonder.
Yeah, Bart K was somewhat like that. Me, just look at our off screen. I had never met you. We connected with a video chat a week ago or so, and it was an hour later before I even realized how much time had gone by. We're talking about all the YouTube experiences and everything else. I was in the and I always go off on tangents, and I started this whole line here by telling people how we found each other and this whole thing came about. I've been watching you, okay, and I made that remark about the comments because I left a few comments and I didn't get an answer, and I understood how it works. I'm not a naive kid anymore. I don't expect everybody to, oh God, Mitch has left me a comment. I know it's going to get cold, but I'll be into dinner in a while. I have to answer this comment now because this guy Mitch is just the most important thing in my life. People expect you to have that kind of attitude, and I guess in some respects you can't blame them. But
what's funny, I actually get a lot of the time I get people saying, "Oh wow, you replied." Like, "Oh wow, you replied."
I get that too, and I replied it.
Don't reply, and I can understand. When you're really busy, it's basically impossible. But when we were talking the other day, you said, "Oh, I left a comment." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize," and popped on, and I think I give you a response to at least
or a heart, at least. If nothing else, you say, so and so. They get an email that says, "Old guy carnivore" or "Ken Carnivore loves your comment," and then you go, "Oh, isn't that nice?"
I can go eat now.
And they have artificial intelligence driving the comments, so they put up 3 or 4 of what they think would be appropriate answers, and most of the time most people will just to get it over with. I was up till 11:30 last night just trying to clear comments because, and you notice this too, not only do they leave comments on the video, they leave comments on other people's comments, and when that happens you get an email that you don't see it in your normal thread on the YouTube studio that says you haven't answered these comments. That doesn't tell you about the ones that were in other people's threads. And so many people do that because they see, they read, there's a button there that says reply. It's not clear. It's obvious why they do that. In order to me to find that comment and actually answer it, I have to open the email. I have to hit the reply button where it will then open another window with the YouTube video that that comment was in. And if I hadn't already answered it, it will be the second comment from the top down in the comments underneath the comment whose thread it appeared in. And I even try to answer them. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up late at night. I think that I was saying that big guys, they have people for that kind of stuff. They're on they're big, they're just, it's become a big business. And YouTube has that potential when every video you put out gets 1 million, 2 million, 5 million views. There's some serious money. But a video of mine, and you'll back me up on this, I think what I'm getting paid by YouTube is $3.50 to $4 in ad revenue per 1,000 views.
Yeah, mine's £2.08 average.
About the same.
So it's
about $4. Yeah, $4 or $5. Okay.
$3.
So if my average video is like 3, 4, 5,000 views, I make 15, 20 on a hot day, $25 for all the work it took me to film, edit, upload, answer comments, and all that. That is not Ferrari money. But on the video that runs, and I've been lucky enough to have only one video that went over 100,000 views, I think I probably made a couple $1,000 on that. And these guys are doing that 5 times a day, 10 times a day. They're making millions and millions. But the grunt work, the hard-working little guys like me, and you get more views than I do now. You've been at it longer, and one way to go crazy real quick in this world is try to second guess the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Try to figure out why you can make a video and it gets 500,000 views, and you make the same video and it gets 2,000 views.
I thought I'd make some very silly, like light-hearted comedy stuff for entertainment. And there's like the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. Well, number 2 went crazy. Well, number 1 didn't do that well. And number 3 is like slow. It's like what was it? It's the same exact title except for number 2 just went like crazy, and the other ones not so much. They're still done quite well, but it's like, what was it about that, or was it the timing that I posted it? Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Some people have the exact same title and they don't perform the same way. Maybe it has to do with the thumbnail, or not too sure, or maybe bots that that sort of like the artificial intelligence like decides to boost it. I don't know. That Jordan Peterson one that I did, that's got the most views. There's so many bots in that. It's obviously in their favor to try and keep pushing this thing.
Well, YouTube's only goal is to get people to watch videos. They don't care if it's your video, my video. They don't care what video. It could be a video of a cute kitten. They just want eyes on the screen, and the ad and the people, because the people will see the ads. And I put this question up because Judy Frank just said that she pays the $13 a month to have no ads, which is the YouTube Premium. Does that affect our income? No. We get a percentage of all of the people who pay for premium. A small percentage goes to every influencer whose videos you watch, and it doesn't matter to me one way or the other whether you're premium or not. That's we're gonna make the money. I myself cannot stand. I just can't stand to watch all these ads. Oh God!
Yeah, it is frustrating.
So I pay. I think it's almost up to $15 a month now for the premium, but I try to make the best of it. Just like I do with Amazon, you go for as many of their other services. So it just so happens YouTube has thousands and thousands of good movies you can watch ad free. They have YouTube Music, which is like Spotify or any of these other music services where you can hear for free. So I tend to use all of the YouTube versions, especially the music app. That's what I listen to on my cell phone through the earbuds. And then Amazon, of course, with Amazon, they keep raising the prices of that, but you get the TV station, you get Amazon Music, you get so many different little benefits if you use them. And it pissed me off so bad that they went ahead on Amazon Prime TV and decided that they were going to run ads.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, F you, Amazon. I'm not paying $2.99 a month so I don't have to see your ads.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
Yeah, that was what I said for the first day and a half. I paid the $2.99 a month because the ads just ruined it. Why bother? I could just watch. I have an antenna outside. I can pick up 65 channels of broadcast TV. If I want to watch ads, I don't need to be trying to watch a movie or a good TV show. So, you know, you always buckle. You say, what the hell's $2.99 a month more in this world? So you can cancel anytime. You can cancel anytime.
It's funny though. I don't know if you get sort of like this blame and hate towards you, but I mean, I get people saying, "Oh, you're using this guy to make money, and oh, you're making money. What more do you want? Like, what do you want from me? You know, you're lying to us, and you're earning money. Like, oh, you should go to jail. All this stuff." It's like you don't realize I could literally right now I could go outside and clean my neighbor's windows and make 25 quid like that.
Yeah, make more money. They don't realize it.
On YouTube, I spent hours and hours inside where I shouldn't be, like in front of a screen, which isn't ideal. You know, my eyes sometimes get a bit sore. I mean, my eyes can look a little bit bloodshot because of the amount of time I'm spending in front of the screen. You know, it's not exactly the healthiest thing to do. I'm just doing it to try and push the word out. This isn't for money. If I stopped doing YouTube and just spent like the same amount of hours cleaning windows, I'd be like 5 times more better off.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm in exactly the same boat. I'm 70. You know, I'll be set in May, which is getting closer and closer. Because, you know, in a little over 2 months, I'll be 77 years old. I'm not supposed to have to make a living. But my life went south for a number of reasons that I don't think were my fault. But things happen, economies change, and it's getting harder and harder every day. But I lost everything. And, you know, basically, I do have my Social Security. You can't live on that. So I have never been able to quit work. But the good news is, I'm good at a lot of different things.
Okay.
I've had a lifetime to learn all this stuff. I'm one hell of a website designer and graphics artist and that kind of stuff. And I have offers for work. I can get as much work as I want from my daughter, who owns a public relations company. And I've got big web clients out there now. And I take a lot of time away from that work, which pays I'm not going to tell you what it pays, but it pays. It pays very well to do this YouTube stuff because I'm so passionate about it, and I think it's so important. And there are people who think that we're all prostitutes, you know, that we're all hucksters and carnival snake oil salesmen, and unfortunately, a lot of us are. There are a lot of them, and you know, guys like Lee and I think are a little different. That's why I wanted to get together with you, Lee, because there's nobody like you in the carnivore community.
There's no one like you either.
I'm beginning to think there's nobody like me on the whole planet Earth in any community. But it's just not more of the same. It's not more of the same. And there's so much of the same out there. But you get guys, every once in a while, guys really stand out. Guys like Curry, Homestead Howe, guys that really, you know, they're not getting rich. Curry, I admire him. Any money he makes, he's putting back into the cause. You know, he works his ass off in that little movie theater of his, and God bless him. I just there aren't a lot of people like that. You take.
He's very, very helpful as well. If anybody has their doubts, I mean, he's offered me so much help. He, you know, behind the scenes, again, very, very natural, genuine person who genuinely cares and wants to help. Has offered me a lot of help and yeah, said like, if you ever want to know about cameras, you ever want to know about this, you know, just get in touch, and he'll give you the time. You know, very generous with his time.
We got people arguing in the chat. That's great. I love it. We have Ken Wang is. And John P. I know John P. I know he's not argumentative, but Ken Wang is watch Ted Demon, tons of it. Ken Wang, yes, the is eating too much. Ken Wang, hiya Ken, how you doing? You've been noticed, my friend. I've noticed you. You're obviously a smart guy, and I'm sure we all appreciate the expertise that you're letting us benefit from today. But please, my friend, don't argue with people. Don't start fights in the chat. That's not why we're here. This is not a live stream to prove people wrong or make claims or show how smart you are. Everybody knows. I love that saying. Everybody knows. Don't you like that? Well, everybody knows that red meat's just going to rot in your colon, Well, everybody knows that.
Yeah, how can that be possible when I can
Yeah,
see that it's completely just liquidized before it even gets to that point?
absolutely, absolutely. And everybody knows. And in my house, and Lee is in my house now, as I'm in his house.
Jump out that window.
In our house, we're the smartest guys in the room.
Yeah.
They may not think that anywhere else, but I'm entitled, and so is Lee, to be the smartest guy in the room in his own house and make the rules. So behave yourselves. I love them all. I do love them all. I've only had to actually hide very few users.
Yeah, I think I've only hit 3 people.
Yeah, very few. They're just obnoxious, mean, stupid. Just obviously a plant being paid by somebody to troll and Ribeye Ranger says, "Come on, Mitch, let's rumble." I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I like to insult and run. That's the best way to. Yeah. At any rate, we love you all. Love you all, man. Listen, I'm 5'10" and 138 pounds. I'm usually the leanest guy in the room, but Ken, if you're leaner than me, more power to you. God bless you, man. Where were we? We were talking about how we got together. We've still never gotten through that whole subject yet. At any rate, I finally just put a couple comments on his thing, and I don't know how you noticed my channel, but one day I see a comment of yours on one of my videos. I go, wow, look at that. Because it's cool, isn't it? Isn't it cool?
Well, I remember you messaged me on one of my videos and you were saying, I'm thinking
Yeah, I
about...
said, email me. Yeah, I said, email me. Yeah, and you did. Or I'd email. However, we managed to get together, but it happened through the comments on videos.
Yeah.
I was happy to see that you, like me, actually aren't afraid to put your email address in the about section on your YouTube channel. A lot of people won't do that. A lot of people won't let anybody know what their name is. Yeah.
Just a network.
I put your address was there, so I wrote you. And the reason I wanted to get together with Lee is because the two of us, in each in our own rights, are really unique to most of the carnivore influencers, and we're absolutely nothing like each other in how we approach it and the style.
Yeah.
Of what we do. And I said, well, it ought to be refreshing if we got together and did a live stream or something and show some people something a little different than, the 4 guys in 4 windows that show up at the same time every, Monday or Tuesday night and sit and talk to each other about the same subjects for 2 hours. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but after you've watched a couple of those, you say, all right, what's next, So we got together, and here we are. And I expected thousands of people to be watching this.
Some people probably think I'm Jordan Peterson or something. Like when I post that video, you get so many people say, "Oh, thanks, Jordan," and it's like,
okay. Yeah. I think I had somebody. I think I had that thumbnail I put up here. This one. I think it was this one here. Let me get it up on the screen here. You got to go through 5 clicks, 6 clicks to set these things up. But this one, okay? Tell me that. Now,
neither of them look like you.
Well, that's my face,
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But I found, I did that.
It's your face and your chest, right?
And I just wonder if anybody actually thinks I'm serious about this. I put right in the title of the video, clickbait, you think? But, when you see something like this, it took me 30 seconds to do that in Photoshop. And you have to look real close to see
Yeah, that the head's not too big for your
But the
body.
head is, it almost looks like it belongs there. I even did the blending around the neck. 30 seconds it took me. So over here is a picture of me when I was in my 30s or early 40s. This picture's 30, 40 years old, okay? And this is how I used to look. And I even, to make it even seem like more of a joke, I put the little angel guy on the shoulder over here. I actually had a comment about this thumbnail, and I don't know if it was a joke or somebody, or I didn't understand the point, but the comment said something that Ken Berry has a pot belly, doesn't he? They thought this was Ken Berry for some reason. That's all I could think. But does that look like Ken Berry to you?
No,
I didn't think so. But I got it. I did
maybe
get.
after 7 days. I don't know.
I did get that. I did get that comment. I thought that was funny. But I very rarely. But you know yourself. You and I both know, and a lot of people do not understand on the subject of clickbait. If you're going to get any views on any video, you have to come right up to the line of what people consider clickbait. You have to be at that line. People want to be clickbaited. They want to be promised more than that can be delivered. They want that message.
You've got to entice someone to. It's like, you can write the perfect book. It has to have a cover that pops.
And a movie
People
poster.
are going to buy that book on the strength of that first paragraph, maybe the first sentence. You need to think, how do I write a sentence that is going to compel this person that reads this to buy my book? And that's why when I try and make the videos, I don't want to be like clickbaity, but it's like you're saying, you have to be up to that line, that threshold where you're not lying, you're not misleading. Hopefully when people click on the video, you're kind of getting what it says on the tin. If you
have to. If you don't deliver what it says,
it should hopefully, that very first clip needs to be enticing. And I'm not saying I could deliver every time, of course, but that's how you have to approach it the same way. It's like a business type approach, but if you're writing a book, you've written a book, you haven't done that because you don't want anyone to read it. You want people to read it. I want to get this as far and wide as possible, and you do that by creating the right cover, and you've got to compel that person that's reading that first paragraph. And that's why I often have those little intros. I edit the video, and as I'm going through it, I'm thinking what stands out, what pops the most, what is compelling the most out of this whole video. And I take that, I copy and paste it towards the beginning, and sometimes I have 2-3 moments like that, and that last 30 seconds, say, and then I'm done. I don't want to waste any more than 30 seconds of people's time, and then we'll get into the video kind of thing.
That's important. In fact, if you watch, there's no shortage of people on YouTube that tell you how to succeed on YouTube. There's definitely no shortage of them. There's an old philosophy that says, them that can do, and them that can't teach. But, for what it's worth, some of these guys, the Nimmons, Nick Nimmin and his brother, they're not bad, but they all have these formulas, and they all tell you about, and the YouTube demographics show you how much of your audience you lose in the first 30 seconds. It's crazy. But they all show you the same thing and give you the same advice. And a lot of people follow that advice, I think, too much to the letter. Yeah. They'll come on right off the bat. They'll look at the camera and they'll just read the title of the video. Because somebody once told them that you need to let people know in the first 3 seconds what the video's about. So if they got a video about vintage Thunderbird cars, they'll come out and they'll come on and they'll say, "Vintage Thunderbird cars. We'll be back in a minute." And then they'll play a 2 or 3 second little flashy intro, and then they come back. And every video in there starts like that. And after a while, I think people catch on and say, that's not doing it the way you're doing it, and the way I try to do it. So sometimes I just start. Sometimes I'll find a piece like you're talking about, something that's outrageous, funny, something from the video that people are going to want to stick around past 10, 15 seconds. But that's what we have. Instead of thinking about carnivore, and instead of thinking about things we can tell people that improve their lives and health, they make us think about crap like, how am I going to get more people to watch my videos? And that's the problem with the way this whole thing works. Is it becomes to so many providers not about the message, it's about the clicks and the views,
Yeah.
and an obsession to constantly keep looking every 5 minutes. Is it going? Did I get more
Yeah, yeah.
views?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I look to see the first 2 hours are very, very telling. So when you post a video, for me right now, if it gets like a couple of hundred views in the first hour, it's going to be probably dead, in a few days. But if it gets like 700, 800, 900, 1,000 plus views in the first hour, it's got potential. If you
Wow,
get the second hour and it's kind of multiplied, it like almost accumulated views, and that has that effect going forward, that it's going places.
yeah, I only had one video that happened. But I've resigned myself to the fact I'm not making, and I've only been at it 6 months. And whether I kind of figure that the length of time that your channel has been performing is a very important part of the YouTube algorithm. Everything figures into that. It's extremely complicated, but I agree with you. To me, the most important thing is how it does in the first hour or two.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's what they're primarily looking at. And and they compare it against the average of what your videos do. So they know you're popular. They know you've got 20, 30,000 subscribers.
Hmm.
They know that your click through rate is 7, 8, 9%. What that means is for every 10 people or every 100 people that get your thumbnail in their feed,
Yeah, yeah.
7, 8, 9% of them are enticed enough by your thumbnail to click the video. And they have hundreds of different parameters that are all have one thing in common, and that is, as YouTube, which of these trillion different YouTube videos should we push out that has the greatest chance of getting somebody to actually view it? Because we can run an ad.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what it's all about. People who think that the YouTube algorithm is about censorship or anything, they don't. No, it's about how can we maximize every dollar of income for us at YouTube, and that's impossible to try to second guess that, because there's so many variables. So many things are different today than yesterday. Attitudes change from yesterday that affect all this stuff. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to stop watching all these how to get more views on YouTube. I'm just going to do my thing, and however many views I get, however much money comes in will come in. If
Well,
it's,
you learn from that. You learn from what you're doing and what works and what doesn't, and you try and replicate that. And it's just, that's what it is. If you can just look back at your own performance, that's telling enough that you can learn all you need to learn from that. You know what to do next. You go, why didn't that work? And you think about it and you go, okay, I think it's, the thumbnail was off on that one. You know what I mean? Or when I posted it, it was dark and it was nighttime, and so that kind of disappeared into the screen or something like that. It needs to bounce more. So maybe you go back and lighten it up while it's still running, and then you see it works. It's just, there's so many different things, there's so many little tricks. But again, I can't get it right every time. Otherwise, they'd all be getting the same amount of views. You got these channels that they get so far, and every time they post, it's almost like they're guaranteed that 250,000 then plus, depending on how it performs. Where mine are really, they sort of perform different, very, very differently. They're quite kind of up and down all over the place. So,
and you can tell in the first hour or two.
Yeah.
And I can tell. And sometimes I'll get 10, 15, 20,000. Once in a while, 30, 35. I've got a few videos between 50 and 100,000. My biggest video, I told you what it was. It's throwing a chuck roast in a slow cooker. That's almost 200,000 views, but that's the most I've ever done. And it's still getting views.
And you were going to eat that anyway that day, right?
It's still getting views if you. But I'm happy. I'm okay with it. It's because it's. I don't, it's a hobby for me. I have to enjoy it. I want to enjoy this stuff. And I don't want the pressure or stress. I'm too old for that. I had that all my life. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And if people, I have a small following now, and people tell me that they like what I'm doing and that I help them, and that makes me feel good. And to some people that doesn't matter because it's all about money, but to some people that's a
Yeah.
quid pro quo. That
I mean,
is
the
payment.
biggest reason
Good
I
feeling.
want my videos to perform well is not if I had to choose between I want them to do well, and just help people, or they're not going to do so well, but you'll get paid. I just want them to do well because then it makes it worthwhile making that video. I spend a lot of time making the videos, and so it's like writing a book. You don't write a book so that you can then just stick it somewhere in a dark place and no one gets to read it. You write the book because you feel like it's meaningful. You feel like it's an advantage for people to actually read. And so when I make videos, I'm hoping they're going to reach as many people as possible because that's why I'm making a video, not because of money. You know what I mean? I would pick views over money any day because the whole point when I started doing this, I wasn't monetized obviously overnight. And back in the day, like I think Jonathan from Carnival Muscle was saying it's just over a year, so maybe like 14 months perhaps I've been doing
Okay.
it took me a while to get monetized, and when I was monetized I wasn't getting any kind of meaningful amount of views, and so I wasn't earning anything at all, like literally pennies and pounds, nothing. But I was doing what I was doing because I just wanted to spread the word, and I'm not going to forget why I started doing this. I'm not now going to just switch to money greedy, money hungry type of thing. I get so many, I don't know about you, but I get emails on a weekly basis from people that want me to potentially push their supplement or device.
Oh God, yeah, I get it. Anything from supplements to barbecue grills.
I just had one today before we got on talking about they want me to sell their blender. I was like,
Yeah, anything with
never seen
food.
my channel. Have you
Anything
ever
with food.
what would you stick in the blender? Make a meat smoothie or?
Yeah, and they all say the same thing too. We love your channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they spell your name wrong. I mean,
yeah, I don't think you've watched my channel. It's just somehow come up like
it's
in the
come
phone
up on
book,
a
and you're
list.
just ticking off. Yeah, you're ticking off this list to see if you can sell a product. Yeah,
And
sure.
they do, and we've all been approached by all the same ones, and I just swore I make I have my look. I'm not that much of an angel. I mean, I like money, and
Yeah, sure.
I have my little private community, which doesn't make you don't get much from that, but I have my Amazon links, and I make a little from that, and that started kind of by accident. People kept asking me, where'd you get that slow cooker? Where did you get that air fryer? Where'd you get that gadget that you use, that thermometer? And every time I'd go look up the link and I'd put it back in the comment. It was a lot of work. So I finally, when I built my website, I put a page in there, and the title of the page is links to stuff I use every day. And they're Amazon links. Well, I'm making to be honest, I'm making a couple $100 a month from those links. And the
Wow.
thing I like about it so much is that it doesn't cost my viewers any money. It's the same price, same product. But I get a couple of points on it, and that comes out of Jeff Bezos's pocket. And I don't think there's any of us
No.
that feel bad for Jeff Bezos about giving old Mitch a couple $100 a month for pointing people to his products that they never would have thought of before. And that's the extent of how much that I try to capitalize this thing. But it is what it is. But I've had heat for it. I've had people accuse me of being a mercenary and everything like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know what it's like. I had to upgrade my StreamYard membership, right? To be able to do a dual live stream. I had to go from a free version to a pro version. I had to shell out $240 for that. And those kind of expenses never stop. So some YouTubers are lucky to if they even break even.
Yeah. Well, I purchased a new laptop in that time as well. My old laptop I posted ages ago now on the community page. My laptop was running out. Every time I tried to make a video, it was so stressful because it would tell me I've got so much space, and I would put in videos within the software, and then all of a sudden it would just tell me I've got hardly any space whatsoever, and so it was pretty much breaking.
Yeah, so you need cameras, and you need
microphone and
cameras and microphones and mixers, and I mean, and there's always a new camera and always a better camera coming out, and so, but it's fun. Nobody's making us do this stuff.
No, I would do it anyway. Like I've said this so many times, whether I was getting a penny for it or not, I would do this anyway. This is my passion. This is what I like doing. I quite enjoy that editing process. It's like about creating this mess and then clearing it up. It's very satisfying, although it takes lots and lots of hours. But yeah, just the reaching people and the reactions and stuff like that, and the amount of emails I get, personal emails, just makes it worth it. Honestly, it makes me feel like it's worth going through what I went through just because of how many people are grateful and I don't know, inspired to jump on the right track potentially. So yeah, it's awesome.
Look at this viewer's name. Damn it, Jim! I'm a carnivore, not a doctor. Eat meat. I don't know who you are, man, but you get the old guy award of the day for one of the truly great YouTube channel names. Thanks for coming in here. I like it. I've never seen him before or never noticed it, but I love that. Thank you. You made my day. I don't see a lot of questions concerning carnivore, and I think maybe one of the reasons is that if it isn't a medical question, there's just not a whole, with all the information's out there and all the stuff that you and I keep talking about and all of our viewers see on a daily basis, and watching Ken Berry on live stream after live stream talking to people about, well, this is wrong with you and the solution is a proper human diet. Okay, well, this is what's wrong with you and the solution is a proper human diet. Well, you can fix that with after a while, you finally begin to get the idea that maybe that, maybe that really is.
People that watching this right now are very well educated. They know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, and we're trying, what I'm trying to do in my channel, that's different, I think, from the other guys, is I'm trying to focus on the whys that we can't do this, the addiction connections and things like that, and that I think sometimes loses me viewers because it does get technical. It does go into areas of science and stuff that I think about. But
yeah, I mean, if I just go and look at my videos right now, if you look at popular, they're not the most educational. They're more entertaining, if anything.
Exactly. So, people do want to get entertained. Well, listen, I don't want to blow it all on one live stream here, you and me. We've been at it for an hour and a half already. I think if it's up to you, maybe we should call it before we bore all these people. What do you think?
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy either way. It's just reached 7:30 p.m. here, so.
Oh, okay. And I like to go between an hour and a half and 2 hours, but I'm watching the viewer count. It's starting to drop off a little bit, and that's how I gauge people.
How many have you got there?
I got about 100. Just went down to 96. Right. And I think an hour and a half is more than enough. I don't, sometimes these live streams can go 2, 3, 4 hours, and it becomes too much. But I want to do it again.
Yeah, for sure, we can do that.
Yeah, we
now
should do it.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, maybe we can make the joint live stream, but we'll do it again. We'll put something together, maybe next month or a month after that. We'll get back together again. I don't think the world is ready for a Lee and Mitch show every evening at 7, but...
well, maybe we'll do a piano duet next time or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be fun. Yeah.
I don't know what the sound would be like.
I don't know. During COVID, they were doing whole orchestral things individually in their houses over Zoom and stuff like that. So they figured out a way. They figured out a way to do that. But I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming. And if you'll give me 1 second here, Lee, because I'm not used to this, let me bring in my traveling music. I already told you about my traveling music. Hey, what do you think? You like that?
I feel drunk.
It's just good old down home blues.
I'm like left on the dance floor with one person, just completely out of my head. Struggling to stand up, but I don't want to go home. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, listen, man, it's been great. I had a good time, and even we'll get together. We'll get together on a video call here pretty soon and talk about things. But it was great having you here. Great having you here. I really do admire what you do. I'm going to let you say goodbye to the people that we have watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone for dropping by. This is a little bit of a different experience for me, so I do appreciate it. And take the rest of the day off, guys.
Oh, man, where'd you hear that? Come on, what's the rest of it? What's the rest of it?
and eat meat.
Hey, there you go.
Unless you've
Okay.
eaten already, and then just, I don't know, wait
Yeah,
until tomorrow.
I've
and eat
eaten.
it.
I've eaten 2 tons of meatloaf and bacon over the past couple of days trying to make that video I put out this morning. At any rate, guys, I appreciated it. This was my first shared live stream. I had a good time. It's a little different for me because I usually just start talking and don't have to worry about it. But I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And we'll do it again. I will see you on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time for my regular live stream. And until that time, you know the drill. He's waiting for it. He's anticipating. Come on, I know what you're doing. Take the rest of the day off, guys, and eat meat.
Great stuff.